a new term? That's the question, right? So why a new term, the CRO? I mean, right now I feel when we do the CRO audits or even work with brands on Shopify for be it CRO or A/B testing, as you suggested, not every brand needs A/B testing. A/B testing is one subset of the CRO, right? And in CRO, we also start from the home page, then collection page, then product page, then cart page, then checkout. So checkout comes in that end. Maybe if you start from the beginning, it can be called as DXO. If you start from ending, it can be called as CRO. Do you think that makes sense?
Yeah. So again, when you focus on just conversion, you are, as a brand, you're ignoring a lot of different opportunities. Okay. So you're, with conversion, you're also ignoring things like post purchase. What happens after the conversion, right? So I am challenging brands to, instead of focus on just conversion, to focus on the much larger picture. Okay? What happens before somebody gets to your website? Right? What are the ads that they're clicking on? What is the article they read that led them to? What is that referral from a friend? What does that look like? And how is that part of the entire digital experience that is not just conversion? Now, yes, in conversion optimization, I do see a lot of people who will say, okay, I'm going to start on the landing page. I'm going to start on a home page and optimize down to the checkout.
Yeah.
The challenge becomes when you are working with clients that, when they hire somebody for conversion rate optimization, they have a singular focus, and that is conversion rate. They want you to increase their conversion rate because they hired you to optimize their conversion rate. The challenge with that is that I can optimize their conversion rate in a minute, lower all of your prices, give yourself massive discounts, right? There are a bunch of things that you can do that are not healthy for the brand, but will increase your conversion rates. I argue that there is much more to that equation. And if we as an industry focus exclusively on conversion and conversion rates and use this term, which a lot of brands believe is a way for them to increase their revenue by singularly increasing one metric, and that is conversion rate. I believe that we are doing a disservice, and I believe that we are not going to actually improve the customer experience in the way that is sustainable and a long-term gain for that client and for that brand.
Makes sense. So now the $1 billion question is, how should someone start with the digital experience? Like, where should someone begin? Are there any tools you recommend, or what is the thinking process like when you start a DXO audit or something like that?
Yeah, so I like to break it down into the 4 phases of consumers. That it's the journey consumers are going through, and there's 4 phases. There's that discovery phase. This is the phase where people are learning about the brand. They're forming those initial impressions of the brand. They are determining whether your brand or company understands their problem, and maybe you have a potential solution for their problem. Okay, consumers are only at an e-commerce website for 2 reasons. And with over 15 years of optimizing websites, we've only found these 2 reasons. The first is they're there because they believe that you can solve a pain or a need that they have, right? Nobody's coming to your website unless they believe you can help them. And the second reason that they're there is to convert as quickly and easily as possible, and then get on with their lives. So with this in mind, you really need to help them through that journey as quickly and easily as possible. Otherwise, they're busy. They're going to move on with their lives and get on to other things. So that first initial phase of discovery is very important. Where did somebody come from? What page did they land on your site? How can you answer very quickly how you're going to help them and make their life better? So that's the discovery phase. The second phase consumers go through is called the information gathering phase. This is where they believe you can help them. right? They read something on your website that said, yes, this might be what I'm looking for. But now they're really digging into the details. They're moving beyond that casual window shopping. They're really starting a dedicated mission to find the information they need to make a purchase decision. Okay. The third phase is decision making. Now, decision making is where a conversion happens. And I've talked about this larger journey where most or a lot of conversion optimization will focus in this step only. And this is only 1 out of 4 steps. But this is where the consumers have all the information they need, and it's time to make that crucial decision and then to check out. Okay. So this is a very important, it's a pivotal step, but it's the third step. It's not the first step, it's the third step. Now, the fourth after that comes post-purchase. I'm a firm believer that conversions don't stop at the checkout. Your great digital experience needs to flow all the way through, which means long after that product or service has actually been delivered, right? You need to help them to understand what comes next, make it a great onboarding phase. You need to make sure that they don't return your product, right? You want to make sure they come back and buy again, right? You want to get that customer lifetime value to grow, and you want to reduce that customer acquisition cost by selling to the people who have already bought from you before, because that is the cheapest customer for a brand to sell. So all of this, all 4 of those steps, right? From discovery to information gathering, to decision making, to post-purchase, all of those matter. And the larger your brand gets, the more all 4 of those phases matter, and the less that just that decision making and conversion phase matters.
I think it makes sense now. Maybe DXO would be like a big set, then the small set of that is CRO, then a small set of that is A/B testing. Is that how you place it?
Yes, that's exactly how I would look at it.
Perfect. And right now you wrote a book, right? What motivated you wrote a book? Was there not enough books in the industry? Just kidding. So what exactly was the reason you thought about writing a book, which
Yeah, so there are definitely more than enough books on conversion optimization. What I found was in writing this book is called Behind the Click. And it's all
Mhm,
about the psychological factors that consumers are going through. They don't understand that these are even happening to them, but consumers have these inherent thoughts while they are navigating and converting on your website. And you, as a brand, need to understand what those are. And if you can understand what is going through the heads of your consumers, then you can better form that customer experience, that digital journey on your site to make sure you're addressing those needs, right? And
mhm,
it's really interesting. I mean, each phase has psychological principles. In the discovery phase, for instance, there's a principle called the anchoring bias, right? And the anchoring
mhm,
bias is the idea that people overly rely on that first piece of information that they encounter. So you
mhm,
need to make sure that in that discovery phase, the first piece of
mhm,
information you give them is the most helpful,
mhm,
right? Because they are going to look at
mm,
that first piece of information and say, yes, this brand can help me, or I don't think they
mhm,
can. In which case, even if they
mm,
continue looking through your website, they're going to have that negative intent through that entire journey. So you need to make sure that you are anchoring to a very positive experience. In the information gathering phase, there's really 2 types of people who are gathering information on your site, and you need to make sure that you are providing an experience for both of them. The first is somebody called a
mm,
maximizer. These are customers who need to know every available option in order to make the best decision. They have several browser windows open. They are comparing you versus all of your competitors. They're looking for the best price. They want to know every little detail of the product. They want to see a photo from every angle. They want to make sure that what they're buying is exactly what they need and want. Then there's this folks called the satisfiers. The satisfiers, what they do is they take the first option that they believe to be a good solution. They don't have to do a lot of research. They just say,
mhm,
yes, that looks like it's probably the right solution. They buy it and they get on
Mm-hmm.
with their lives. So they are in it because they want it as quickly and easily as possible. They're solving a problem. They think this will solve the problem. They don't want to spend time
Mm-hmm.
confirming that and knowing all the details. They just want to have that problem solved and move on with their lives. So you need to make sure you're aware of
Mm-hmm.
both of these type of people so that you can have a good experience for both of them. Now, that
But
decision making,
wouldn't these things make you create some like black hat methods or something for where we can actually exploit a user? What do you think about that?
it's very true that you could in theory use these as black hat techniques, but I think that's
Yeah.
a big mistake because it's all about helping customers make the right choice for them. Okay. And if you
Mm.
use these to trick consumers into buying something that they don't need or they don't want, you're going to inherently hurt your brand, right? Because they're just going to
Mm.
return the product or have a negative review online, right? You're not actually helping them, which is really what optimization is all about, right? So you're going to,
Mm.
if you use this as a black hat technique, you're going to attract customers outside of your target market. They're just going to be unhappy with your
Mm.
product no matter what. You're going to increase your return volume, right? So people are just going to send the product
Mm.
back. You're going to kill your brand's customer sentiment. You're just going to have bad reviews online. You're going to have bad word of mouth. I mean, if I get tricked into buying something, I promise you I'm going to tell my friends not to buy that product, right? And then lastly, as a brand, you'll waste time. You're going to waste money and resources attracting and then converting the wrong people. And I argue
Mm.
you should be taking that effort and focusing on the people who do need what you are selling, because then you can just make a better experience for them and sell more that way. So,
Mm.
in my point of view, yes, you could use these in a black hat manner. However, the reality is that that ends up being worse for the brand than anything else.
Mm. Makes sense. Another thing you mentioned, I just got a quick glance at the book. You mentioned about heuristics, right? What is heuristics to you?